Yo, what up, though? That's how we greet each other here in my city, Detroit. That's where I'm from. So down in the comments, let me know where you from and how you greet each other. When you see your people in your town, in your hood, in your neck of the woods, in your borough, in your apartment complex, wherever you're from. Let me know how you greet each other. So again, we say what up, though. So I hit y'all with that nice welcome and what up, though. Welcome to the channel. Excuse me. What we got here is FFE and FFE Studios Midwest brings to you What's the Word podcast, and this is episode 1. So today's episode will be about lead-based paint, the hidden dangers in your home, and why inspections matter. The business we're highlighting will be, of course, my business, Three Kings Property Management Services, LLC, certified lead inspector, certified RP for lead work, RP that's renovation, repair, and painting, certified lead abatement supervisor also. So that's the business we'll be highlighting today in the podcast. Again, and the topic is lead-based paint, the hidden dangers, and why inspections matter. So without further ado, we'll just get right into it. Did you know over 36 million homes today still contain LBP? When I say LBP, I'm using those acronyms for lead-based paint. So again, over 36 million homes today contain LBP, and many families don't find out until after the child is exposed to the LBP, or yeah, to the LBP, you can say. And lead poisoning isn't just something from the past. It's still happening and going on right now in homes, rentals, and renovation projects across the country. And the scary part about it is many people don't even know it's there. Today's episode is about protecting families, protecting property owners, and making sure you stay compliant before you renovate, rent, or sell a home. That's simple. Because you don't want to get hit with those lawsuits. If you're a homeowner or a renter or landlord or something like that, or not a renter. If you're a renter, you definitely don't want to put your kids at risk. So, and things of that nature. So we'll cover that and go over that, and just some more information on why inspections matter and they're important. And again, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to be kicking this off for episode 1. What's the word? Everybody. So yeah, every episode will be something different. So let's get back into this. Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. What's the word again? I'm your host, Kenny Mack, the owner and CEO of Three Kings Property Management Services. That's the business we'll be highlighting today. And I'm gonna try not to take up too much of your time with this, but I feel like this information needs to be shared. So I would try to be thorough as possible. And about myself in the background with this is I've spent well over 20 years, maybe 30 years accumulated, for sure, between myself, my father, and my brother. Over 30 years working residential and commercial properties, carpentry. So I'm also certified lead inspector, certified lead abatement supervisor, along with EPA and HUD certifications, certified through the state of Michigan for lead abatement supervisor. And so I don't just talk about lead. In this episode, we won't just be talking about lead. I don't just talk about it. I professionally inspect for it. I identify its hazards and safely abate it when necessary. And abating it just simply means getting rid of it. You want to abate it, get rid of it. And this is real work. It's real risk and real protection for families and property owners. And we can just get into what is lead? What is lead and where it's found? Lead, lead-based paint. It was commonly used in homes built before 1978. So that's a good date, 1978, which was 2 years before I was born. So don't be on here trying to do the math and all that. No, this is not It's not a math class. It's strictly for lead. So don't do that. Scratch that what I said. But 1978, a good year because that's when lead-based paint was banned. So any house built before 1978, it's a good chance it has lead-based paint in it, and it's a greater chance that that LBP is a hazard. It's causing a hazard. So any homes built before 1978, and while it may look harmless, it becomes extremely dangerous when it starts to chip, peel, or gets disturbed, during renovations. And that's something I want to touch on a lot is the renovations, because like I said, I've over 20 years and I've done a lot of demolition. I'm also certified to drywall demo, drywall hanging and finishing and painting. So I've done a lot of demolition and knowing my early years, before I took this, knowing what I know with the lead, I know I've been around and been exposed to it myself. So that's also why I want to do this podcast and put this out there just for the information. So we all know about when it was commonly used, 1978. Before that, any home before 1978 pretty much has lead in it. And over 36 million homes today still have LBP in them, and majority of those homes pose lead hazards. And again, even though it may look harmless, it's not. And it's commonly found in the windows, window sills, doors and trims, walls and ceilings, porches, basements, exterior paint. Like on the outside, you would scrape your house and paint it, and the lead paint chips fall to the ground. They get in the soil, they stay there forever, and the soil becomes contaminated. Now your kids are outside playing, or if it's a play area around that soil, or even you yourself tracking that the lead contaminated soil from the outside to the inside of your house for so many years, and that can be dangerous, honestly. And the biggest danger isn't always the paint you see; it's the lead dust that's generated from the paint. That's generated when we go as renovators. I say we as renovators, you go in and you get to tearing down walls or tearing out windows and doors. Again, windows and doors are the most common spots for the lead and the lead dust to be generated because it's generated through impact and friction when that window is going up and down. And if you live in one of those homes where the windows still have the weight in it, it's plenty of those homes. Someone's probably like, hey, my window. So yeah, that's lead. That's lead. And every time that weight goes up and down, it's creating friction and it's creating lead dust. And the thing about lead dust is it's heavy, so it falls, it plops, it falls straight to the floor. And again, kids always on the floor. They're toys that are closest to the floor and they're crawling on the floor. And as soon as they do that, you put your hand, they put their hands in their mouth. Window sills, floors, and just keep in mind lead dust is very heavy. And again, it may look harmless, it's not, and it's when it's disturbed, when it's becoming peeled and damaged, or yeah, during renovation is when it's really harmful. So if you don't have the proper PPE, you hire someone, a subcontractor job, you might not know. That's why it's important to get these inspections, to get them tested, you know. Again, like I say, window sills, doors, trims, walls, ceiling, porches, basements, all of those places are known big for having lead dust. And the dangers of lead exposure, lead is especially dangerous to kids under the age of 6. And why is because okay, I'm not a doctor, so don't get me for this, but it's a part of their immune system that hasn't I noted it. I mean, I have a note of it, and it's actually called the adaptive immune response. That's what it is, adaptive immune response. But I know it as T cells. That's what I was taught as. It's the T cells haven't developed in their immune system yet until the age of 7. So up until that age, they're really, they're most at risk for this lead. And again, because As soon as they start walking, they're pulling up on the, windowsills or the ledges, and they're crawling. All of the toys are on the floor. And again, lead dust is heavy. It falls straight to the floor. So that's why kids under the age of 6 are most at risk to exposure. It can cause permanent brain damage, learning disabilities, behavioral problems, delayed growth and development in kids. So it's big. You don't want to move your kid into a home not knowing nothing about it. And adults are not immune either. We get exposed to it mostly through our work renovating and working in construction. Lead exposure in adults can cause high blood pressure, kidney damage, fertility issues, serious health and complications, especially during renovations. Like, that's highlighted. I keep saying that because that's my line of work. And I know a lot of people that does that type of work that's not certified or not having the premises or the property tested. You know, During renovations, I know of a few people personally that has bought homes off the Detroit Land Bank, which is nothing wrong with that. And you go into DIY and you would get it to a certain code where you can move in it or at least stay in it while you renovate one part of it. And, that's not good. I wouldn't recommend that without having that property inspected properly. And that's where people like myself come in, certified professional to inspect the property before you go in or start renovating or start tearing walls down or start replacing the windows. Because these fines that come along with that from EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, these fines can grow up to 35 grand, especially for repeated offenders. So you don't want that. Don't guess, just test. You know Give us a call. I'll leave all my credentials will be in the description and everything. It probably pop up somewhere on the screen throughout the video. So again, children under the age of 6 are most at risk because of the T cells have not developed in their immune system, and they don't start developing until the age of 7. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Buying a house if you're working or doing renovation, then you go home to your family, if you have a child. If you don't have a child under the age of still, you still want to take these precautions and follow the proper steps. Use the proper PPE, the proper containment methods when you're doing this type of work, and also being informed about it. So adults, again, you're not immune. You can request a from your doctor, just tell them, "Hey, can I request my blood lead level?" That's it. Just ask them to check it. It might shock them if you never asked. Hey, they might ask, "Do you work in construction or something like that?" You might get that, but they're not gonna deny you from getting that. Requesting the blood lead level. Highly recommend it if you've been doing construction work, any type of construction work or renovation on old properties. Get it checked. Lead poisoning is 100% preventable, but only if you know it's there. Only if you know it's there. And again, people is not just kids who are most at risk. You just bought an older home. You may already have lead hazards without realizing it. You don't know. Buy the house, get it tested as soon as you buy it. They should tell you that, but if they don't, they didn't get it tested and who they bought it from. And also if you're getting funded, like you have your government funding, you have your state funding, and you have your federal funding for these type of repairs to happen. So if you're getting funded and you're not following these proper procedures from HUD or EPA or the state of Michigan, I use that state because that's the state I'm working in, the state of Michigan. If you're not following these, again, these fines that you can be hit with is enormous. Even landlords, moving someone in. As a landlord, you are legally responsible for providing a lead safe environment, especially if kids are moving into that unit. So, if you don't know and you move and some kids move into that unit and become lead poison, just because you didn't get it tested, trying to, or not even, I wouldn't say trying to save a couple of dollars, because if you don't know, you don't know. And that's the purpose of this podcast right here, is to try to get everybody informed on that and let them know how important it is. If you're buying a home, renting a home, selling a home, moving into a home, renovating, and while I'm on that, renovators and contractors, highly, highly exposed to this lead dust, lead LBP hazards. Renovating without testing can release dangerous lead. It can put you, your workers, and your family at risk. Because again, if you don't know, you don't have the proper PPE. Like, for instance, this face mask here, I also do drywall work. So this filter here is for that. If the proper type of filter you want to use, if you're working around lead dust and lead hazards, it's a HEPA filter, HEPA, HEPA filter. Even the vacuums, it's proper cleaning you have to do. So if you are a renovator or a contractor, there's proper ways you have to clean. And the state will find you if they find out the lead filters will be magenta. See, that's white. And I forget the number, but also that number on there means a lot. But the ones for lead will be magenta. So you want to use the proper PPE, the full suits, the full body suits. When you're renovating lead, you don't want to take it home. No, you don't want to. But all these things, this is why you need a certified professional lead abatement supervisor on site at all times when you're doing lead abatement. But even if you don't want that, you just get it checked. Just get it checked. And why certified lead inspection? Because it's a big difference. It's a big difference between the DIY test kit and the certified lead inspection. The DIY test kit is just, the top layer. This layer of paint is just going to test that. So like I said, or like studies say, if you live in or bought a house that was built before 1978, how many layers of paint do you think is on that wall? And if you buy a DIY test kit, it's just testing that one layer. You're just going to swab that layer and, it's going to say, hey, no lead is in that. But I'm pretty sure no lead is in the top layer. But what if it's 8 layers of paint? This house has been being painted since 1978 or before that. So, if it's 8 layers of paint, a professional like myself will test down to the substrate, which means whatever is the last thing under there. May it be wood, concrete, cement, steel, whatever, a professional like myself would test down to the substrate. So that's the difference between I can just buy a kit and do it myself. You can. You can, but there you go. That's why I wouldn't recommend that. What you can do is just call Three Cans Property Management Services just for a quick inspection. Like one room might have it, one room might not be. And another thing about why I say one room, lead-based paint is not hazardous until it's becomes deteriorated until it starts to peel, until it starts to crack, or it becomes disturbed once you start renovating and snatching it down. So you can have lead-based paint on the wall and it's totally fine. You can leave it there, but once it starts peeling and cracking, that's when, okay, now it's time to abate that. So that's a fun fact about it. Again, why test kits matter. A professional inspection, it gives you accurate testing, clear documentation, actionable results, and legal protection. Because, what comes with you get the paperwork. Like before, this right here, renovator right pamphlet, I have to give these to the homeowner before I start working on your home. If I'm doing lead work, you have to read it and sign it. So this is all legal protection for you and myself. To read that, sign it, and I keep a copy for me and a copy for you. These stay on file for 3 years, so legal protection. No one can say, "Hey, this house wasn't tested." Yeah, this house was tested 2 years ago, and I have to. So there it is. That's another big difference from the DIY and having a professional do it. Legal protection, actionable results, clear documentation. You're not guessing or none of that. Guessing is risky. Testing is responsible. And at Three Kings Property Management Services, that's what you get. You get responsible, professional work, and you would want to like pre-purchase inspections, lead inspection before you rent a property out, lead inspection before you renovate, pre-renovate. All of this is pre-renovate, lead inspection before you go tearing those walls down, before you pull those windows out. Hey, it's lead in there. You gotta, you have to contain the area a proper way for containment, a proper way for disposal. These things have to be labeled a proper way. So to save yourself a lot of time, hassle, money, court costs, and even lawsuits if someone becomes contaminated or lead poison because of your negligence. We don't want that. We don't want that. So lead abatement, that's removal. That's not just the inspection. Now, that's what you get with me. That's another perk. What comes with Three Kings Property Management Services. This is two different companies you will call. You will call a company to inspect, then you will call a company to come and abate. You get all those in one. Okay, you might not want the abatement. Hey, I just want to inspect. I'm going to have someone else abate, or I'm going to try to do it myself. Cool. But like I said again, the state don't require that. You have to be certified, certified through the state to do lead abatement work, or you will be fined. Again, so lead abatement, safe, EPA compliant, removal and control. It also protects families and tenants. This is lead abatement. Now, it preserves the property value. You're buying a home, it preserves the value. You show them the paperwork and say, "Hey, it's lead in this house." They know, hey, it's going to be some serious renovating I have to do. So I can't give you the price you're asking for because it's lead in the house. So, and you don't want that. Preserve property value. So what sets me apart is, again, it's simple: certified to inspect and abate, meaning you don't have to call multiple companies. You get that done right here, because I've worked with homeowners who had no idea lead was present until testing revealed it, early on, and early detection saved, like I say, saved costly repairs, health issues, legal trouble, because, they were renting this house out. So it saved them legal trouble, renovation mistakes, because you have to properly abate. You can't just, you have to properly do it. You have to be a professional. I don't want to get too much into what you can and can't do. I'll just say you should be a professional and licensed. Uh, and one inspection can make the difference between safety and serious consequences. So you don't want to let that go, you know. And this lead dust, again, it's a silent killer. You don't see it, but it's there. And fact about it is, lead, it enters your bloodstream through two ways: either inhalation or ingestion. And ingestion is for the kids, and inhalation is more adults because, like I say, we work around it and we inhale it. And lead dust is heavy, so when it's generated from the window sills or from the doors opening and closing, slamming the doors, or the windows going up and down, or you open the window and the air comes in and it's blowing the dust to the floor. Because and again, the kids are crawling around on the floor. They're rolling their trains and cars on the floor. They put the hands in the mouth, put the toys in the mouth, and there you go. And it stays in the bloodstream for 30 days. And after that, it travels to the soft tissue, which is, your kidneys and your liver and your brain, things of that sort. And it's stored there or stayed there for 6 to 8 months. And after that, it travels to the bones and the teeth where it stays for 30 years. Yeah, facts. You can look that up. And after that, it just back to the blood. And then from there, just repeats that cycle. So, and it is, you can It's a it's a process called chelation therapy that you can get it. You can get chelation therapy and have the lead removed, but that's dangerous because it removes lead, metal, and the irons and everything good, the good irons you need. So while it's removing the lead, it's also removing some of the good things you need. So chelation is risky, but I just wanted to say that not to scare no one, but just think that those are facts. It's in the blood for 30 days from the blood to the soft tissue, 6 to 8 months. And after the 6 to 8 months, it lives in your bones and your teeth for up to 30 years. Then it just gets and it does that cycle all over again. And that's why, you don't want to guess. If you're renovating, if you're buying, if you're moving into a home and, they didn't tell you, hey, the landlord didn't tell me anything, get it tested. Hey, you can tell him, hey, this house is full of lead. I moved in here. You might just get a free house. So that's what you get with this. So 3 Cans Property Management, you'll want to give us a call. And again, it's not only, the lead inspection or abatement. I'm also certified for painting, drywall removal, drywall repairs, drywall installation and finishing, landscaping, home improvements, snow removal, clean gutters, awnings, pressure wash, window cleaning. Just we manage your property for you. It's not one avenue here at 3 Cans Property Management Services. And I'd like to thank you all for listening. And remember, lead safety start with awareness and action. And if you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who owns or manages a property, who's renting, or you are thinking about buying a house or anything of that sort. Again, like, follow, stay tuned. Let me know what you thought about this episode from What's the Word, episode 1. And I'm out. Peace. Take back